Hello and welcome! Today, we're going to explore a really different way of thinking about our bodies and our health. We're going to step away from the purely chemical side of things and dip our toes into the subtle, fascinating world of energy and vibration.
So let's just start with one big question. What if the path to feeling better wasn't just about what we eat or the medicines we take? What if it's also about the very energy that makes us, well, us? What if healing is simply a matter of frequency?
You know, for a lot of people, this whole search for harmony starts when symptoms just don't go away. It can be so frustrating, right? Dealing with fatigue that sleep never seems to fix, or a chronic pain that doesn't have a clear cause, maybe allergies that pop up out of nowhere. It's really in those moments when conventional medicine might not have all the answers that the search begins.
And that's what leads so many of us on a search for something that can bring our body back to its natural state of balance. It's a quest to find that state of harmony where everything just works the way it's supposed to. And this is often where people start looking into complementary approaches.
And that brings us to a therapy that claims to speak this very language of frequencies. It's called bioresonance.
So, what is it exactly? Well, the core idea is pretty simple. Everything in nature, including our own bodies, has a frequency. Every single cell, every organ, all our tissues, they're all vibrating and sending out their own unique electromagnetic signal.
A really powerful way to picture this is to imagine your body as this incredible, finely tuned orchestra. When you're healthy, all the different instruments, your cells, your organs, they're all playing together in perfect harmony. It creates this beautiful symphony of frequencies.
So if you think about it that way, health is when all those frequencies are balanced and harmonious. But when things like toxins or viruses or allergens get into your system, they introduce these disruptive frequencies. It's kind of like one instrument in that orchestra going completely out of tune, and it just throws the whole thing off key, disrupting that delicate balance. Okay, so if illness is like an out-of-tune orchestra, how do you tune it back up? This is where the therapy itself comes in.
The whole thing centers around a specialized device. This machine is designed to actually read the frequency patterns coming from your body and then act like a filter, sorting out the harmonious, healthy frequencies from the disharmonious, disruptive ones.
The process itself is actually pretty straightforward. First up, electrodes are placed on your skin, and they detect that whole mix of signals coming from your body. Second, the device does its thing. It acts like a filter. It finds those disharmonious frequencies, and then it does something really clever. It electronically inverts them, basically creating a mirror image. And finally, it sends two things back to your body: your original healthy frequencies, which are now amplified, and those new inverted waves, which are designed to cancel out the bad ones.
And here's what's really key. Nothing foreign is being put into your body. The whole goal is to use your body's own information to clear out the static, strengthen its natural signals, and ultimately to switch on its own incredible, innate ability to heal. Of course, the million-dollar question is, does it actually work? To even begin to answer that, we've got to look at two things: the scientific data that's starting to emerge, and the really powerful personal stories from people who've actually tried it. All right, let's look at the data. We'll start with a pilot study from 2014 that looked at smoking cessation. Now, this was a placebo-controlled trial, which is important. The group that got the real bioresonance therapy had a quit rate of almost 29%, compared to about 16% in the placebo group. So, the difference was statistically significant, meaning it likely wasn't just chance, but the overall success rate was still pretty modest. But then, you have this other, much more recent observational study from 2024. And here, the short-term results were, well, they were dramatic. After just 1 week, an incredible 84.3% of the people had quit smoking. This really highlights the potential for immediate impact, though it's important to remember this study didn't have a placebo group to compare against.
But you know, data only ever tells part of the story. Sometimes personal experiences are just as powerful. Take Yelda Baba, an English teacher who used bioresonance as a supportive therapy while she was undergoing cancer treatment. She said, "Finally, the PET scan results showed no tumors anywhere. This was a miracle." Her story really points to its potential role in just helping the body cope alongside standard medical care.
And it's definitely not just about smoking. If you look at this chart, which is based on research publications, you'll see that the single biggest category for bioresonance research is allergies, a field where so many people really struggle to find relief.
And that research is backed up by stories like this one. A patient said, "After 12 weeks of bioresonance therapy, I overcame the cat hair allergy I had suffered from for years.
I mean, for anyone who's dealt with a persistent allergy, a result like that would be absolutely life-changing.
So who are the people turning to this kind of therapy? Well, the stories and studies point to a really wide range. You've got people with chronic pain and fatigue, folks with digestive issues, people with those stubborn allergies and intolerances, those trying to quit smoking, and even patients just looking for some extra support during treatments like chemotherapy.
All of this brings us to a pretty fascinating and important question. When we look ahead, what does the future of medicine even look like? Are we on the verge of integrating a whole new dimension into how we understand health?
So what we've seen today is that bioresonance is a non-invasive, complementary method. It's a field that has some promising, though still pretty early, scientific studies. And on the other side, it's bolstered by a huge number of deeply personal stories of healing and transformation.
And that leaves us with one final thought to ponder. Our current medicine is largely based on biochemistry. Bioresonance and ideas like it point toward a future that's based on biophysics. The real question then becomes, is the future of healing purely chemical, purely energetic, or is it maybe an elegant integration of both?